Hey guys, welcome back to Maelstrom Gaming Studios. I'm Craig.
And I'm Connor.
And we are together once again after a month of Nurgle's Plague. And we're going to talk some 40k. So last time I went to the Renegade Open and you guys said in the comments you want to see some of the other Tyranid Tournament lists that were there. So in this video we are going to cover two of the other top lists that were in that tournament, plus one bonus list from another tournament because that list was pretty unique. Well, it had some unique twist to it, and it did go second place at a major event. So we're going to cover that one as well. If you guys are looking forward to this sort of content, please like and subscribe. Stay up to date on everything we're doing here at Maelstrom Gaming Studios. And if you want, do consider becoming a member. All of your support does go right back in the channel, helping us grow. So check it out. You get member-exclusive videos, Discord channel, and much more. With that all out of the way, let's dive into the video. So this is going to be a pretty straightforward video. We got three lists. We're going to go over them. Two of the lists I have talked to the players and I know kind of how they ran the list. I actually played against one of them. And we're just going to go through and see what we got. So this first list finished 4-2 at the GT. I believe he technically finished like the 9th-ish place range. I'll have to check.
Pretty good.
But pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good. I was hoping to get up there. And he brought a wonky list.
It's crazy.
I mean, it was, as you can see by the picture, a lot of shooting. So we have a battalion and a patrol. So the first battalion is a Hive Tyrant, no wings, a walking Hive Tyrant with scything talons and devourers with brain leech worms, which I believe are the 12-shot ones. He was there. He was casting psychic powers. The
backfield objective. Wait, no, you don't need backfield objective holders because.
I mean, he could, but he's got so many things. He was a Symbiostorm model, so casting Symbiostorm on one of the Hive Guard units, and I think he had Catalyst as well. Troops, 3 units of 10 Devil Gaunts. Yeah, you know what?
Just on foot.
For me, I thought those would, they'd die before they really got to do anything significant. So, okay, so objective grabbers, they do clear through chaff infantry. So if you're playing against, Death Guard with the Poxwalkers and Imperial Guard, though there wasn't actually a single Imperial Guard player at the tournament.
That's a different video.
That's a different video. Yeah. But yeah, so 3 units of 10 Devil Gaunts. Sure. He had 2 units of 6 Hive Guard with the Impaler cannons, the standard ignore line of sight. I did the same thing, so it's potent. Yep. We all know how that was. And then he had 2 Exocrines. Which are
not as...
They're good. They're still good.
Not as popular anymore, though.
Not as popular. They have been taken away from, mainly because I stand by this 100%, an Exocrine in a Chronos detachment is still one of the best. It's been nerfed because of our Symbiostorm change. Still one of the best points for point shooting units in the game. Sure. 2 of them are great, but outside of Chronos, they drop off significantly. So people playing Leviathan are not going to be taking this because it's just not as efficient.
Doesn't do the thing it used to. Yeah.
But 2 Exocrines, no upgrades on them. And that was the Chronos Patrol. That was the heavy shooting part. And then we go into battalion. We go into a Jormungandr patrol detachment. He had a flying Hive Tyrant with the Resonance Barb. Okay. I believe he had Psychic Scream and Catalyst on this Hive Tyrant. Sure. So Catalyst in case the other Hive Tyrant doesn't want to do it or it's dead, so he's got 2 chances for that. Dual Scything Talents could be a combat threat, and Psychic Scream, Resonance Barb, and Smite, all chances to deal mortal wounds. I like playing that type of flyer, and it does well. He had a Neurothrope with Onslaught, so that will help out the Hive Guard in the move and shoot penalty.
Just helps out movement stuff for the list.
Troops, he had another unit of 10 Devil Gaunts, and then he was missing the points, so he had a unit of 10 Fleshborer Gaunts. Again, just mass Gaunts for holding the objective. A lot of 10-man squads. Yeah. And then in the elites, we had an interesting choice. I like it. Especially with the meta that was at the tournament, not that he could know that too well, but it was unit of 6 Hive Guard with shot cannons. Wow. And enhanced resistance. So the enhanced resistance did pair well with playing Jormungandr because Jormungandr will give them a cover save all the time. So they have a 3-up armor, ignoring AP -1 and 2.
Ooh.
So that's pretty good.
Nice.
The shock cannons are an interesting choice. I've seen them slowly crop up here and there as interesting options to catch your opponent off guard.
Yeah.
They do mediocre damage against most targets, but against vehicles, they have a good chance to do D3 mortal wounds to them.
Yeah,
I think it's
huge.
Rolls of 5. I don't even know because I don't look at it. I think it's rolls of 5+. They do D3 mortal wounds to a vehicle in addition to the normal damage. So when you have, and they're 2 shots apiece, so that's 12 shots to do D3 mortal wounds. So it can melt vehicles pretty quick.
And most competitive armies right now have vehicles.
A lot of dreadnoughts.
Dreadnoughts and dread knights.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And for the dreadnoughts, because redemptors are so prevalent, as well as contemptors, the reduced damage by 1 the mortal wounds do not care about that.
Right.
So that
there you go.
That'll probably, if he puts the double tap onto them, that could probably drop a Redemptor Dreadnought in a turn, which is good. I mean, assuming your dice rolls go well. Yeah. It was an interest. And I talked to him after the game, and I was baffled by how his list did so well. It seems like it's missing a threat. Like if you went up against something that had combat, that you would quickly crumble because you have you got 50 Gaunts in your way. And I didn't look he did not play a Grey Knight. I know he did. I think he played 1 Grey Knight player and he did lose to him. So that would explain it because I feel like Grey Knights would have a field day with this list.
But I mean, it also, as you told me before we started recording here, did he go first or not?
Yes. So I did talk to him. He went 4-2, and Hive Guard, as all you Tyranids players know, Hive Guard are one of the biggest units in the game that love going first.
Yes.
Because they they negate everything.
Yeah.
That the Hive Guard will shoot, and they will kill stuff before it can even go, no matter what, if they try to hide the unit or not. Right. So he did go first 4 times.
And he got 4 wins.
And he got 4 wins. So I want to take away from his loss, from his wins at all, but man,
I just think
that list is nasty.
I think it's important to mention that going first with this list is huge. Yeah. Massive deal.
I would have loved to see this list against actually, it probably would do pretty good against the Khorne list I played because everything has 1 wound, so even the Devil Gaunts could drop Berserkers pretty easily.
Yeah, and I mean, there's 18 Hive Guard in this list.
18 Hive Guard.
So I mean, the shot cannon ones just melt every Rhino. The other ones melt every Berserker. I mean,
yeah,
it's a dirty list.
Pretty brutal.
Yeah.
So that was that list.
Can I ask one question?
Yeah, of course.
Is that like 210 points for that squad, and those are 270?
Yes. The shot cannons are much less expensive.
How many points are the Impalers?
45 points a model for the Hive Guard with Impaler cannon.
And a regular model
is
like with the shot cannon?
What is that, like 35?
I didn't realize the Impalers were so many extra points.
Just because the shot cannons aren't that great.
Yeah.
They don't ignore line of sight. They're not as reliable against infantry. They really don't have the anti-tank, and they still have the penalty for moving and shooting.
So it's 10 extra points for the Impaler cannon?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
I thought they were the same cost for some reason.
No, they're a lot cheaper. I think that was addressed in the last chapter approved. Actually, they went down. Hive Guard used to be 50 points with the Impaler cannons.
Wow.
And they went down.
Wow.
They'll probably go back up those 5 points. But we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
So that was that list.
Cool.
The next list was Aaron, a balanced Leviathan list. Aaron Schurer.
Sure.
Yes, Aaron Schurer. He's a great guy. This is, if you watch my review, this is who I played round 1.
Oh.
And so he got, I think it was like 13th or 15th.
Pretty good.
Had I not drawn in my second game, I would have placed 1 above him.
Wow.
Because I got an extra battle point more than him. And I had to draw, so that put me right below him.
Would have been nice Tyranid representation.
There was a lot of good Tyranid representation. So his list was really cool. I loved it, and I'm gonna take inspiration from it going forward.
Cool.
And so let's go over it. It was Swarmlord, like a lot of lists. Swarmlord leads it. He had a Broodlord with its Synaptic Link and a Resonance Barb. so it's allowed to do 2 casts and 2 denies. Then we had a Tyranid Prime, Lash with Bone Sword, the Adaptive Neural Lobe, Synaptic Link, Strategic Adaptation, and Swarm Leader rerolls.
Wow.
It's a lot of stuff on him.
What's the Adaptive Neural Lobe?
So Adaptive Neural Lobe is on a 5+ when your opponent spends a command point on a 5+, you get 1 back.
That's great.
So that's awesome.
Yeah.
The Synaptic Link, unchecked ferocity, so 6s to hit in combat, auto wound. Strategic Adaptation is allow 2 units, any 2 units in your army, to redeploy after you know who's going first.
Wow, so he actually used a lot of the new stuff?
He used every new thing pretty much in this one. Wow. And then Swarm Leader rerolls, pick a unit, infantry unit, beast or swarm, and they get full rerolls.
Cool.
It was that Tyranid Prime, barring his weapon loadout, is probably a staple in many competitive Leviathan lists because.
So seeing it going forward, you think?
It's well the problem. So the issue is the Tyranid Prime is one of the only things that can take all of those. You can take them on a Hive Tower, but you do not want to put all of those valuable upgrades on something that can get picked apart.
I was gonna say the Tyranid Prime is actually great for it because he can't be targeted.
He's cheap and he hides behind other infantry.
Right.
So in the troop section, he had 2 units of 16 Gene Stealers, 4 Acid Maws out of those.
Cool.
So 208 points. They're fast. He would slingshot one of them turn 1, slingshot the other one turn 2 if he needed to, or save them for a later turn.
Cool.
They do a lot of damage to infantry, and if you put the Tyranid Prime Synaptic Link on them, they actually can hurt monsters pretty well too.
Nice.
He had 3 units of 10 Hormigons for faster objective grabbers. They did their job, zipped up to the objectives, held them, died, but you know, that is what it is. I had a Tyranid Warrior unit with Bioweapon Bond. I believe they all had Lash Whip Bone Swords on them. That's why they are 75 points versus the 66 points that I like to take mine at.
Sure.
The Bioweapon Bond would often be used onto the Hive Guard.
Of course.
Simple as that, yep. And in the elites, we do have 2 units of Hive Guard, 1 unit of 5, 1 unit of 6, just because of points. I'm sure he would have loved to have a 6th one if he could.
Seems like that happens to a good amount of lists, though.
It does,
11 Hive Guard.
We have 2 Lictors, because 2 Lictors are awesome, and I'm surprised the other list didn't have any. It's just...
Well, that other list was... That's an anomaly.
A weird one.
Yeah.
So, 2 Lictors, because Lictors are great. And then he had a Maliceptor with a Synaptic Link. And the more I see the Maliceptor used, the more I've played with the Maliceptor, the more I think that this thing is...
viable?
It's borderline nearing auto-include.
Wow.
Depending on the units in your army.
Wow. I like that thing and the Tyranid Prime are...
They're being used again.
Used, yeah.
And speaking of things that haven't been used much, 3 Venomthropes to round it out.
Wow.
Now against me, the Venomthropes didn't really do anything.
Well, it's because you have Hive Guard.
Well, yes, but the Hive Guard do not ignore that -1.
Oh, right.
Yep.
They don't... Oh, it's not +1.5.
Yes.
Huh. Okay.
They don't ignore that -1, so that's... But it just... The positioning on them... And it just didn't end up. But in his other list, I watched, and the Hive Guard, the Venomthropes did do well.
Yeah.
There was a lot of line of sight blocking terrain, which allowed the Venomthropes to hide behind a building and put out that bubble to protect the Gene Stealers if he didn't go first.
Yeah.
And the Gaunts and really everybody because it can. This list is great. I beat it barely.
Good game though.
But it was a great game.
Yeah.
It was a great game. And he did really well. I watched him. He beat up some Space Marines pretty good.
Cool.
The main things to take away from this list is that Tyranid Prime is very common. The Gene Stealers with the right upgrades on them are absolutely nasty at killing anything. Hive Guard are there's a lot of Hive Guard. Yeah. So that was
I was just gonna say we fear a nerf for them. You don't want it.
Yeah. Well,
I want you to have your Hive Guard, but we'll see.
Yep. So that was that list. Again, very good. The one thing that caught me off guard when I first looked at it, there's only 2 monsters. Maliceptor and the Swarmlord. That's it. And he said his Swarmlord was one of the MVPs of the game, just running around the board, slingshotting the Gene Stealers, and being an absolute beatstick himself.
Yeah, he really is.
I like to play my Swarmlord a little more reserved just because mine always seems to die if I send him out into combat. But
he's very good at being the turn 2 or 3 thing that walks up.
Absolutely, yeah.
Especially if you've weakened your opponent and they don't have that great of tools
to deal with it.
To have a Swarmlord walk into your face or slingshot himself on turn 2.
Yeah, it really can catch some people off guard.
Yeah, it's just so dangerous.
And then another thing, unit of Tyranid Warriors Bioweapon Bond. I think that is a staple.
Yeah.
One unit at least will be an auto include in just about every army as well.
I think we've known that since the thing got previewed
It's really
or came
good,
out. Yeah.
So now let's go over a different list. So this was the Austin Open, which is a GW held grand tournament.
Whoa.
This is Manny Chima.
Cool name.
He got second place at this event with a Tyranids 2 detachment Tyranid list plus the detachment of Gene Stealer Cult.
So low CP.
Yeah, low CP, but let's go over the list. So leading it off, Swarmlord. Yep. And then in the other HQ, the same Tyranid Prime.
Is that the exact same one?
Yep, it's the exact same Tyranid Prime. Like I said, that one is going to be used a lot in competitive lists. Now he has 2 units of Gene Stealers, but they're 12-man units with Acid Maws. Interesting, the 12. It does give him, so if he goes first, or his units aren't targeted, he has just enough to take a little bit of Overwatch and still maintain that extra attack when there's 10 or more models in the unit.
True.
Which is good. He then has 27 Devil Gaunts, points bearing probably why there's only 27 of them.
Yeah.
But Devil Gaunts are absolutely nasty, especially when paired with Swarm Leader rerolls.
Are they just walking?
They're just walking up the board. I'm assuming they took a midfield objective and just parked it there for the game. Probably stayed around to be screening the Tyranid Prime. So they always got the Swarm Leader rerolls and they screen the Tyranid Prime.
Yeah.
And yeah, that would be them.
Cool.
Then there are 10 Termagants. Just, again, maybe a backfield objective holder. He then has 5 Hive Guard. Just a unit of 5 in the Leviathan detachment. Also could take advantage of Swarm Leader rerolls if he wants to.
Yeah.
Now that's just the Leviathan detachment. In the Patrol detachment, which is Kronos, we have a Neurothrope with Symbiostorm.
Classic.
We then have a unit of Warriors, just 3-man simple unit of Warriors.
Also classic.
Sorry, let me correct that. We have 2 3-man unit of Warriors. Identical, cheapest loadout possible, similar to exactly what I ran.
Sure.
And then we have 2 units of 6 Hive Guard. So in this list, there are 17 Hive Guard.
Wow.
In this one.
I didn't see those times 2.
Yeah, so it's his Kronos detachment is like my Kronos detachment. Is he just stripped out all the bugs and stuff and took just the Hive Guard Neurothrope, which was like the core of my army.
Yeah.
And said,
took the core.
Play with some Leviathan. And then he's not done. He's not done. He has a patrol detachment of Gene Stealer Cult, which consists of a Magus with Mind Control and Mass Hypnosis and 5 Acolytes.
Now, the biggest question of the list is, what are those psychic powers?
So
those are psychic powers, right?
Yes, Mass Hypnosis. I'd have to pull out my codex or my deck, but that basically will, I believe well, hold on, let me check, or the codex. So the Mass Hypnosis basically neutralizes a unit. I believe it gives them like -1 to hit or fight last, both of them, -1 hit and fight last and things like that. But Mind Control allows you to pick an enemy model and you get to shoot with it or fight with it in your turn.
Wow.
So think of that big scary Redemptor Dreadnought or an Imperial Knight.
Just any unit?
Any unit. Or a Dread Knight. And you get to fight with it.
Wow. So
I believe, according to FAQs, if it has rerolls from like a captain or something, it gets all that. So your nasty Dread Knight could turn around and shoot his own squad or another unit.
He could melt any squad of strikes.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, so it's those powers both are 7s to get off, so they are tough. There might have been, again, this is what I could find online. I couldn't find a perfectly detailed list of it, but he might have had a Crouchling in there, which allows you to +1 or re-roll a cast.
Yeah, I would imagine
for
he had
free.
Something like that in there.
And the 5 Acolytes probably helped with engage no fronts, objectives, or what's the one? Retrieve Octarius data.
It's very interesting that he included
the Gene Stealer. There is another interesting piece with this. I don't know how much he used it in this list. So the Gene Stealer Cult have the blips. So you can deploy the blips wherever you want.
Wow.
And then for 2 command points, you can take those blips and put them in reserve. So they don't actually have to deploy. Now, the thing with that is the blips have a rule. You cannot move or deploy within 9 inches of those blips.
The enemy.
The enemy cannot.
So it screens?
So basically you set them up so that your opponent cannot, so he can only have a 9-inch charge at best on you turn 1, which is helping protect your Hive Guard from turn 1 chargers. It forces them, because a lot of units,
a bigger bubble
if they want,
screening.
think of my, let's say I'm going up against them with my Scythe Hero Duel or something. Swarmlord yeets a unit. Technically, I could be like a 3-inch charge away. No, I have to stay 9 inches away because that blip is there.
Even though you can't even move?
You cannot move within 9 inches of that blip.
That's so weird.
So it's a powerful little tool to protect your Hive Guard from turn 1 chargers.
Maybe, I mean, that would make sense why.
Yes. Now, unfortunately, Genestealer Cult fans, those blips have been said to be going away in the new codex.
It was very
I loved it.
No, it's cool.
But yeah, sadly they're gone. Or they will be gone.
Hard to balance that maybe, or some stuff like that.
Weird. So that's what I think he's using the Genestealer Cult attachment for.
Really
those
cool.
blips, move blocking, and then the chance of getting that psychic power off to take an opponent's key shooting unit and just turn it on the enemy.
Especially at least with the top armies right now in 9th. I mean, name any of them. Think about how powerful of a unit you could control.
The only army I think this wouldn't do well against is Dark Eldar, because they don't have really a single model that does. I mean, at best you're shooting you're targeting a Ravager, shooting 3 dark, which is good, but it's still just 3 Dark Lances. Now, think about targeting my Barbed Hero Duel.
Yeah,
having that thing turn on me, and then you get to use the line of sight of that to shoot.
Very interesting.
Yeah, so that's a really cool list. Maybe I'll try and squeak it, try something out with it before the codex drops.
It's not that many points for that patrol, is it?
No, it's probably not even 100 points.
Not even 100?
Not even 100 points.
So you're basically...
Maybe it is just about 100. We'll say 100.
You're trading out... You're giving up, what, 2 CP for a patrol?
2 CP for the patrol.
But then you gain, at least for now, the blips, the psychic powers. And an extra squad of...
and really what you're losing by doing that is maybe 2 units of Gaunts to hold objectives. You got a new unit to hold objectives.
Right. So you're sacrificing almost nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, CP,
it's cool.
I guess. Yeah.
Whoever came up with it's clever.
Mina, coolest.
Manny.
Oh, I said Mina.
You combined his first and last name. Manny Chima.
Manny Chima. It was a great list.
So that's pretty much it. Some closing or takeaways is that Hive Guard are pretty much the Tyranid Codex is on the back of Hive Guard.
I hope they don't get nerfed too hard.
I don't know what they're going to do.
I don't know how you do that.
I could see so I don't want them to just increase the points like crazy or limit the Hive Guard.
Yeah, that would suck.
Because they are really one of the only things carrying the Tyranids right now.
Absolutely.
While our tools are good, our tools are how to make Hive Guard better.
All of them, basically.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So and there are still some lists that can make use of powerful combos without Hive Guard, but Hive Guard just take them to a whole nother level.
I mean, if you're not doing the combos on Hive Guard, you're doing it on Genestealers, which are way easier to kill.
Yeah,
you know?
They are. So what do you guys think GW will do about the Hive Guard?
Yeah.
I think single-minded annihilation. They could just say cannot use this on Hive Guard. That is one of the things that makes Hive Guard so scary is because this is 3 units of Hive Guard, right?
Yeah.
But for 1 or 2 CP, you have 4 units of Hive Guard, essentially, in the shooting phase.
It is, I think you're right, because if you're playing against, like I remember, there's a game on our channel, on this channel, where I was Necrons, you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yes.
Craig used, it wasn't even as strong as this list,
no.
because it was way before Octarius.
It was before Octarius.
But I was using the Necrons I had, which is mostly heavy infantry, which gets absolutely annihilated by Hive Guard. And he had destroyed a huge chunk of my army. It was the end of your shooting phase, and I was like, okay, I can do something with this. And you said, I'm gonna burn 2 CP. I'm gonna burn 2 CP and shoot again, and he just You wipe out a whole unit. Yeah.
And it has all the buffs. So Symbiostorm, Bioweapon Bond, that unit with all those buffs is twice. So
I don't know if that would be enough though. They're still so strong.
It wouldn't be enough. Well, but it would be a good amount.
It would help.
Maybe you'll say like they did the Orc Buggies, you limit them to 2 units of Hive Guard. I don't know if they do that, or limit them to...
That would be interesting.
2
units is still good though.
Maybe increase the points back to 50 a model, and
I bet they'll start with something like that and see what happens, maybe.
And then say single mind annihilation doesn't work on Hive Guard. I would bet the amount of Hive Guard would drop down to a single unit of 6 in most cases.
Maybe it would force people to use Exocrines again.
It could,
or make them see that as viable.
GW will buff or make the points cheaper on a Tyrannofex and make them more usable, because right now the acid spray is the only semi-compatible option. Everything else is trash.
Yeah, and I mean,
even with the buffs,
they're supposed to be your big.
Yeah,
they're supposed to be your
Land Raider Slayers.
Exactly, your tank equivalent. You know.
Yeah, so that's what we'll end it here. This is just a rundown of 3, fairly competitive lists.
Yeah.
And then you have mine, so that's 4 of them that you get to work off of. Maybe take some bits and bobs from there and try them out in your army. Let me know what you think of each of these armies. Which one do you think is your favorite? Which one are you shocked by the most? I mean, all of them have something that's shocking. The Gene Stealer Cult attachment.
Yeah.
The fact that the first one has nothing but Gaunts and Hive Guard and a walking Hive Tyrant.
And it has shot cannons, speaking of being
shot cannons are, And then Aaron's list is great because it's like Swarm again.
Yeah.
Like there aren't really monsters. It is all Swarm. I mean, the Hive Guard is still Hive Guard, but still.
They're not monsters.
They're not monsters.
Literal monsters. I mean.
Yes.
They do destroy
They
all
are monsters.
Stuff, yeah.
So that's all we got. Quicker one, but we did want to cover those lists because you guys asked for it. So these are 3 competitive Tyranid lists. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments, and we'll catch you next time at Maelstrom Gaming Studios.
Peace, guys.